Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into the absolute ultimate engine of life on Earth. It's a process that happens completely silently all around us, in literally every single leaf and blade of grass, yet it's the very foundation of our existence. Now, to survive, we humans need a few basic things, right? Air, water, a bit of salt. But honestly, that is just the bare minimum. To actually thrive and keep our bodies running, we desperately need nutrients. And mainly, we're talking about carbohydrates. But let's take a step back for a second and ask a fundamental question. Where do these carbohydrates actually come from? Sure, it's super easy to just point at the food on our plates, but where do they really originate at the very beginning of the chain? Well, they come from photosynthesis. By definition, this is the process where plants and other organisms use light energy to convert carbon dioxide and water into nutrients, specifically those carbohydrates we just talked about. And here's the absolutely crucial takeaway. Neither you, nor I, nor any other animal on this planet can actually conduct this process inside our own bodies. We just don't have the biological machinery for it. We are 100% entirely reliant on green plants doing this vital work for us. Let's move into our first section, inside the leaf factory, to look at these microscopic processes. So the really cool part is this elegant four-step process happening continuously inside the leaf. First up, sunlight shines down and is captured by chlorophyll. Think of chlorophyll like tiny little solar panels inside the plant cells. Second, that captured light energy is immediately put to work decomposing water that was pumped all the way up from the plant's roots, into hydrogen and oxygen. Third, the oxygen gets released back out into the air through these tiny pores on the leaves. And finally, step 4, the hydrogen stays inside to react with carbon dioxide that came in through those exact same pores. And boom, together they form carbohydrates. Once they're manufactured, these vigorous, energy-rich carbohydrates don't just sit there. They're actively pumped and spread throughout the plant's cells via its veins, which basically enables the plant itself to absorb nutrients and grow. The plant uses a portion of these carbs for its own survival, and the brilliant part for us is that the leftovers get stored away in the leaves and the fruits, perfectly packaged for humans and animals to eventually eat. All right, section 2, the building blocks. Let's talk chemical outputs. Fundamentally, carbohydrates are compounds made of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen atoms. It basically breaks down into two camps. You've got your simple carbohydrates, like sugars, glucose, fructose, which contain just a few of these atoms. And then you have complex carbohydrates, things like starch and cellulose. These molecules are packed way tighter and contain many, many more carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen atoms. But the factory doesn't actually stop at just making carbohydrates. Take glucose, for example, the most common carbohydrate produced. The plant takes this glucose and combines it with nitrogen. Now, where does it get the nitrogen? It brings it in mainly through the water absorbed by the roots. And when you put those together, glucose and nitrogen react to form amino acids, proteins, and nucleic acids. These are literally the essential building blocks needed by all life. Moving right along to section 3, the invisible food chain. Time to rethink our diets a bit. You might actually hear someone make this exact argument. They'll say, hey, I don't rely on plants. I can survive only on poultry and domesticated animals, so I don't need the photosynthesis of plants at all. It's a pretty common misconception, this idea that a strict meat diet makes someone completely independent of the plant kingdom. But if we break that down, the argument kind of falls apart instantly. Those domesticated animals, the poultry, the livestock, they rely entirely on plants for their own survival. Without plant photosynthesis, there's no poultry or livestock. Now, you might counter with, okay, well, I can survive by just eating fish. Sure, but fish rely on the photosynthesis of algae and certain photosynthetic protists in the water. So the undeniable fact here is that only plants have the elements to manufacture food naturally. Animals, humans, we simply do not possess the biological tools to make food ourselves. This brings us to section 4, Earth's vital thermostat, focusing on climate regulation. Beyond providing literally every single ounce of food for itself, for animals, and for us humans, plant photosynthesis has another tremendous, almost monumental function for our world. It drives the massive absorption of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, along with the continuous release of fresh oxygen. The contrast of a world without this process is pretty stark. Think about it. Without oxygen production from plants, animals and humans would have simply died out long ago. We'd be completely extinct. On the flip side, without the continuous absorption of carbon dioxide, the CO2 levels in our atmosphere would drastically exceed the norm. This would continually worsen the greenhouse effect until Earth's temperature became way too high for us or animals to ever survive. So, seeing how perfectly this microscopic leaf factory prevents human extinction, feeds the entire world, and basically regulates our global climate, I'm going to leave you with this profound question. Do you think that the photosynthesis of plants begins and happens just incidentally? Like, is it really just a random occurrence? It's a truly fascinating concept to ponder until our next explainer. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll see you next time.